The dining table gleamed under warm lights, every plate aligned like military discipline. 10 chairs were filled with conversations and confidence. Only one remained empty, mine. My father didn't invite me to sit. He pushed an old wooden stool toward the pantry as if assigning me to an observation post. My siblings smirked. My mother fixed her pearls like a queen preparing for a verdict, and I stood there holding a tray I never volunteered to carry. They asked about vacations, investments, and renovations, but never once about my work. My existence wasn't denied, it was minimized. That night wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a message. I swallowed the insult, and in that quiet moment, I made a silent promise. Never again. My family talked about achievements like medals handed out at birth, each story polished until it shone brighter than reality. When my siblings landed minor roles or took basic promotions, they celebrated like royalty returning from conquest. Meanwhile, I secured global partnerships, registered patents, and launched software used in 3 countries, yet none of those milestones earned a single glance. My success lived in silence because it didn't fit their script. They preferred careers they could touch: uniforms, time cards, commutes. If it happened online, it wasn't work. If it didn't look exhausting, it wasn't real. While they mocked what they couldn't understand, I collected contracts, awards, and evidence. I didn't need applause. I kept receipts. One day, they would read them. Dinner became a performance, everyone fighting for the spotlight. My brother bragged about leasing a new sports car. My sister flaunted her upcoming trip to Dubai. My uncle discussed a business deal as if he owned Wall Street. When the attention drifted toward me, I prepared to speak, but my father lifted his hand, sharp, dismissive, final. "Let him finish learning responsibility first," he declared, as though time had frozen me at age 10. The table chuckled knowingly, unaware I managed a workforce larger than their egos combined. In that instant, I realized hierarchy wasn't about achievement, it was about permission. They needed me small to feel large. I smiled, not out of acceptance, but because I finally saw the flaw in their throne. Dessert arrived, sugar-coated and silent, until my mother leaned closer to my sister's fiancé. Her voice softened into a tone meant for secrets, yet loud enough for me to hear. "He's not leadership material," she said, slicing my dignity with a sentence sweeter than the cake she served. The table laughed, not cruelly but comfortably, as though my humiliation was an old family joke. My pulse didn't race. It steadied. In that moment, I didn't feel anger. I felt release. I finally understood the truth they hid behind traditions. I wasn't unwanted because I was unworthy. I was inconvenient because I evolved. That night, something in me snapped. Not my ambition, but my attachment. DNA didn't equate loyalty. I owed them nothing. The moment I stepped outside that house, the world shifted. Doors opened, not out of pity, but respect. My name carried weight in boardrooms where decisions worth millions were made. Investors crossed borders to hear my proposals, and government officials requested my insight to solve national logistics failures. My app didn't decorate phones. It transformed industries. Teams waited for my directives, not because I demanded authority, but because I earned it. Every handshake validated what home denied. Out there, nobody cared about my childhood mistakes. They cared about outcomes, innovation, impact. I wasn't tolerated. I was necessary. While my family measured adulthood with chores and outdated etiquette, the world evaluated me by results. And in that arena, I was undeniable. As conversations around me spiraled into debates about exotic beaches and vacation outfits, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I excused myself discreetly. On the other end, a journalist introduced himself, his tone crisp, rehearsed, official. He asked if I was ready to comment on the final review. Forbes had completed their evaluation. My heart didn't pound from fear. It pulsed with inevitability. For months, I had endured interviews, audits, technology tests, and financial verifications. Analysts dissected every line of code, every contract, every result. They didn't care about family opinions. They cared about measurable excellence. I returned to the table silently, aware the room had no idea how close their narrative was to collapse. My moment wasn't coming. It had arrived. The television abruptly interrupted the room's laughter, flashing red with breaking news. Their chatter faded as my name appeared across the screen, followed by the headline none of them expected. Young founder enters Forbes top innovators list. The anchor spoke numbers they couldn't fathom: my valuation, partnerships, projections. Forks dropped, jaws locked, pride evaporated. My family didn't look at me. They looked at the version of me they never bothered to meet. For years, they demanded proof of my worth. Tonight, the world delivered it for me.
I didn't speak.
I didn't celebrate. I simply sat upright, not seeking approval, but reclaiming oxygen. Silence filled the room, pressing heavier than accusations. Respect wasn't requested, it was owed. And that night, they knew it. My father cleared his throat and gestured toward the empty chair as though offering a gift. The irony was nauseating. That seat wasn't an apology. It was an attempt to rewrite history. They didn't want me at the table. They wanted access to the future I built. For the first time, I didn't hesitate. I stood, placed a hand on the stool they once assigned me, and let it go. That wasn't rebellion, it was closure. I walked out without anger, without theatrics, without looking back. Some chairs are too small for the people we become.
I didn't lose a family that night.
I left a stage that no longer deserved my presence. My seat existed elsewhere, at a table I designed myself.